a lot of tubing for the reactors and things like that. So I'm just going to show you basic operations, how to cut a tube, how to polish the end, how to bend a tube, and how to install a ferrule, which we can use for unions or for different fittings for the reactors. This is Swagelok tubing, this is stainless steel, and this is a 1/4 inch tube. It already has one ferrule, back ferrule, and not installed. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut it, I'm going to polish it, I'm going to bend it, and I'm going to install another back ferrule and ferrule. And this procedure is good. 1/4 is the most common size that we use. We use also 1/8 inch tubing. So if you have a 1/8 inch tubing, instead of using the cutter that I'm going to use, you can use the saw and just make sure that is the one that is for stainless steel. But today I'm just going to talk about the 1/4 inch, and if you are in the situation where you need to do the 1/8, I can show you guys how to do it. It's a little different. Okay? So now we have what I'm gonna use the vise, and in the labs we're gonna find in several labs we have these tube cutters. So if you have, let's say you measure and you want to cut the tube right here. So this is very easy to use. You just open it with the handle here, and now you're gonna, this part, the upper part is the blade that's gonna cut, and the lower one is just gonna hold the tube. So you're gonna put it here, and you're gonna close it and put the blade at the right where you have the mark, and then you're gonna start to rotate and then tighten, and then rotate, and tighten and rotate, and what it's doing is cutting, and then as you tighten, it's cutting deeper in the tube. And you continue doing this until you have cut the tube. Alright? Here we have cut the tube, and now if you can see, I guess we can show here the tube now has some sharp edge from the cutter, so we need to remove that to make it smooth. When we install these, there are usually regulators, there are valves that are out here, and if there is any remaining from the metal that go in the regulator, it can damage the regulator or mass flow controllers, and those are expensive equipment, so you want to have a clean tube before you do any installation. So in order to, we have two kind of files for this. So we have this file, which you can use to clean the inside of the tube, and then we have used a flat file in order to fix the outside. So the way you do this, you just put the edge inside the tube, and you're gonna do this movement in order to remove, to open. Usually when you cut, because the cutter is putting pressure, it kind of closes the tube. So this you use to return the orifice of the tube to the original size. So we're gonna do this, and now you're gonna use this one to remove what is left. Now we're gonna do one more time. So you can see now that after we cut it, the orifice looked very small, but now we have returned it to the original size and it's flat. Now we need to remove any remaining pieces of metal. So in each of the labs we have air, so you can just blow air. Here I'm going to use this one. So you have cleaned the tube, and this is going to protect the regulator mass flow controllers that you have. Now the next thing I'm going to do, I'm going to bend. So we have these tube benders, and this one here, it can be used to bend different size tubing. So it has for 3/16, 1/4, 5/16, and 3/8 tubing. And basically it has a support, so this is where you're going to hold the tube, and this is the mechanism that you're going to use to bend it. So the way you go, you locate the tube here, and you can see that if I pull it back, it is being held here. And as I do that, I'm going to locate the handle, and then the handle here has the degrees that you are bending the tube. So I'm going to go first to 45 degrees, and then I'm going to go to 90 degrees. So as you put pressure on it, you start, and now the 0 is located right at the 45 degrees, so that's a 45 degree bend. And if you keep going, then this is now a 90 degree bend. And now we have the tube that has been bent. Now for the ferrule installation, so we have to, there are different kind of fittings. So here is the most common. So we have, this is a Swagelok type. So the Swagelok type, it has, so we have the nut, and then we have the back ferrule that goes first, and then we have the ferrule. And the way it's going to look after, so it's going to be, you have here the back ferrule, and the nut is what you use to tighten. Now you need, when you install the fitting, and even when you work with it, you need to avoid over tightening of the fitting. Otherwise it's going to have leaks. Now the part that makes the seal is not the nut and the thread. Those are not the ones for the Swagelok fitting. This is what makes the seal. So that's why if you over tighten, you are opening this mount. No matter how much you go in the thread, it's not going to make a seal. That's why even using Teflon for this is not going to help. If you put Teflon in the thread, that's not going to help, because the thread is not the one that makes the seal. It's the ferrule and the orifice here. And the way we install this, I'm going to fix this here. And depending on the size of the tube that you want, on the size of the tube, you need to tighten. When you are installing for the first time, you need to tighten a certain number of turns. So for example, if I have a 1/4 inch, I need to tighten 1 full turn plus 1/4 of a turn. And that's gonna install the fitting at the place that it is. If it is a 1/8 inch, you need to do only 3/4 of a turn in order to install the fitting. And in Swagelok they have some instruction for that depending on the size. Those are the two most common sizes, but if you need to use a different one, make sure you know how many turns. So I'm just gonna make a sign here, and you're gonna write.
Miguel.
Huh? Here it is. So for this one we use a 9/16 or 14 millimeters, and I'm just gonna rotate. This is 1 full turn, and now plus 1/4 of a turn, and now I can loosen. And the ferrule and the back ferrule are now fixed on the tube, and that's how you install this. Now the other kind of thread that we have is called an NPT. So this one is different from the Swagelok in that in this case we don't have a ferrule or a back ferrule, but actually the thread is the one that is going to make the seal. So in this case, for installation, you just have to tighten it like this, and when we use NPT, we actually use Teflon tape to improve the seal. So the Teflon tape looks like this. What we do usually, we just cut so we have a piece of the Teflon tape, And we need to make sure we put it in the direction of the thread, in the direction you're going to tighten, otherwise it's not going to work. So in this case, I'm just going to put around here, and you make sure it's well to the surface, and now you can install this. And that's the way we install the NPT pin.